Hello. Today I'm going to tie for you a foam ant. Now I've done a couple of versions of sunken ant patterns and I've had a lot of success with those. They may actually imitate some form of nymph or stonefly, but they do well underneath. But when the warmer weather gets here, the dry fly version might be just the ticket. So we're going to do this one on a size 16 fulling mill dry fly hook 50/50. And it wasn't long ago these foam ant bodies were all the rage, and that's what I'm going to use to make this fly. We're going to use a little bit of superfine dubbing around the post and to make the head or the thorax area. Use some black hackle. I'm going to use two because these are short, and hold it all together with just some black tying thread. That's 8/0 uni, I believe. So I'm going to show this again. It's been a while since I've done this. I put that little dot on my adjustment knob on my Renzetti vise and I tighten it down against the hook and I back it off a quarter turn, which is about perfect for the right tension and to put the lever in the right place when I'm clamping in my hook. And I can do that consistently on any diameter hook. So just a little footnote there and something I do to make things consistent for me. So I've started the thread. I've gone from just behind the eye back to probably somewhere between the point and where the barb would be, and then about halfway back up. And that's where the post will be when I tie in this foam ant body. So we'll get a couple of wraps there and hold things in place. And it's going to want to roll, so a little cross wrapping and back and forth, and uh, that'll kind of prevent it from wanting to roll around the hook. And then we're just going to go back. And you have to resist the urge to stretch the rest of the ant body. And also, don't kill it with tension right there above the bend of the hook because it's going to pop up in the air a little bit as it is. And if you make it a little too tight, it'll point almost straight up. And um, that's kind of not really what an ant looks like. So we'll work our way back forward and do a little thread dam. And I've experimented with a couple different ways of how to wrap around that foam to make a post. And I don't know, one of the things that I've been more successful with, and I'm not sure I did it justice in this video, but was using a loop of thread to kind of keep tension and keep the thread wraps either in parallel with the foam without pulling it all around. So I did a little hand over hand here, passing the bobbin around, trying to work my way up a little bit. It's a little fiddly. I probably make it look harder than it is. So I've got it more or less started the post there, and um, I'm going to try things here just by wrapping in the conventional manner. I kind of cut away while I got a better grip on things here, but all I'm really doing is I had to learn to switch hands and use I'm left-handed, so I'm using my right hand to kind of pinch things and pull them while I get those thread wraps. You can see that's starting to work out for me, and it's pretty solid around the base. And I'm going to use a little super glue there, which will really firm things up. So the loop has served its purpose, and we'll trim it off. And let's get it oriented correctly back in the vise. So, all right, so there we are. And make sure that the abdomen of the this fly, the foam body, is kind of straight on top. And I'll come in, and you get a little feel for this. Um, but if you snip it off parallel to the hook, if you look at it from underneath, you get that nice oval shape. It comes to a point. You could probably singe it with a lighter and round the edges off a little bit if that bothered you. I, I don't know. Again, I could go a lot further trying to make this look way more realistic, but the whole idea here is to do something quick and dirty that will catch fish, and you don't mind if you lose one to a tree or to the brush on the other side if things go awry or the wind takes it. So there we are. We put a little super glue on that. As I mentioned up front, the hackles, the black hackles that I have are a little on the short side. So I'm going to use two. Even on the ant, you don't need much for legs, but I felt like I needed two hackles here, and it kind of looks right at the end. So work our way back up the post, back down, and I'll trim off the butts of those hackles. I think you could stage these. I've experimented a little bit. You could probably do all the foam bodies up to a certain point and glue them, let them dry, and then come back and add some hackle and dubbing and finish them up. Not sure you save a whole lot of time, but they go they go pretty quick as it is. So I've done a thin noodle of the superfine dubbing. I'll start behind. I'm going to leave plenty of thin waste between the abdomen and the thorax. Yeah, it's going to take a little more dubbing. And that superfine is long stapled, so it every once in a while, once the dog leg, you have to give it an extra twist or something. So here, like I usually do with parachute posts, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees in the vise and kind of work in the, well, the plan was to work it in the conventional direction, but what I noticed, there's a low spot on the bottom of that thorax. I'm going to kind of back off a little bit, add just a little more dubbing and see if I can fill that in. And it's by no means absolutely necessary to make that perfect, and um, but it doesn't hurt. We want it to look good on the camera. I want it to look good in the fly box, and that way I'll have that little extra confidence to tie it on when the time comes. So I had some luck with these. If you're out there and there's no hatch, and you just want to throw something around, or even I've thrown this when there is a hatch going on, and every once in a while they'll take these instead. If I couldn't actually match what was going on, or they wouldn't take what I had to offer, I'd put one of these on, throw it in amongst another hatch, and catch a couple of fish that way. So here I'm just coming in, and the reason it took two bites at that is I caught a little piece of skin in there. Those Hackle pliers have a little more bite than I thought they did. So, and again, as usual, I put a little drop of the thicker head cement that I have on the post and wrap my hackle into it. It'll help keep it from wanting to slip off the post later. And we'll get about 2.5 turns of hackle wrap on there. And it's again two hackles. So, and I'm going to fiddle around and catch as many of those fibers as I can. I want to be beneath them, do about 3 tight wraps. I'm wrapping into that head cement, and I'm fairly certain that things are going to be held in place. And I'm going to get in. Okay, I don't want to get too many extra fibers, so I'll sneak in there and snip off the tips. So it's another little thing I introduced doing parachute flies before, but I grab my half hitch tool and I'll come in from underneath, but I'll wrap in a direction that pulls from the back away from me, far side toward me when I'm putting the half hitches on. So I'll do a single one, get it kind of locked down, and then a couple of doubles, maybe even a triple half hitch wrap around the half hitch tool. And that acts as a whip finish. I didn't have to pull anything out of the way, or I didn't trap any fibers, and that's been working pretty good for me, especially when the fly is tilted in the vise like that. So here we are. There's plenty of white up top, so I'm going to trim some of that away. First, I'm going to push that abdomen back in the center. I don't know, the vice jaws are in the way, so you can't really see the bottom profile. But um, and the other thing, if I'm being a little hypercritical of me, I may have left that post just a little longer than I like. I like to leave a little stub up there of black. I think, um, ants are really three segments. I don't know. Sometimes there's a couple of ants put together. Sometimes it doesn't even matter. I don't think the fish see it. But I may have left that post a little longer than you have to. So put a little head cement around the two areas of thread, half hitches up front and the center section. Fiddle with a couple of those fibers and straighten them out there. I think I caught in the head cement a little bit, but more or less that's a fly. And you could probably knock these out in about 3 or 4 minutes apiece. Um, Zoom in a little bit, and these things float very well. And I hope this helps you out. Thanks for hanging in there till the end. And if you want to learn more about me, look me up on Amazon. Until next time, be safe.